Hello everyone. How are you all? Doing good? In today's class, we will be doing MCQ of Introduction to the GST chapter. Right, and I am expecting this from you that when I will read the question and when I am tick marking any answer that this is the correct answer. So before that you should tick the correct answer on your own and then just match your answers with my answers. I mean, don't just tick the answers as I do while sitting there. Because you have read the chapter, now you should know everything, right? So just evaluate yourself with this MCQ. Right? This is question number 1, and as per me, each question is very easy. It's very easy. Because the first chapter is easy. The whole chapter is very simple to understand. What are the taxes levied on intra-state supply, within state supply? What taxes are applicable? Everyone knows it must be completely memorized. CGST, SGST. What is the maximum rate prescribed under CGST? You can also do this. You can tick 4 or 5 answers first and then watch the video. Then pause it and tick 4 or 5 more questions. So this will also improve your practice and evaluation will be good. What is the maximum rate prescribed in the CGST? Maximum rate of CGST is how much? Listen carefully. Currently, the maximum rate of GST that is applicable is 28%. So CGST would be 14%. But this is not asked here. It is saying what's the maximum rate prescribed in CGST. So I had told you that the maximum rate prescribed in the GST is 40%. In this 20% is CGST, 20% is SGST, and IGST is 40%. So it will be 20%. Who will notify the rate of tax to be levied under CGST? Who notifies the rate of CGST? Central government does this, but based on the recommendation of GST Council. Okay. Which of the following taxes will be levied on import? What will be levied on import? On import, now BCD is levied and IGST is levied. Which of these following taxes will be levied on import? Okay, you might have this question in your mind. Sir, is he talking about import of goods or import of service? When we just say import, that means import of goods only. In import of service, it's referred to as import of service. I'm talking to you from the exam point of view, okay? So you shouldn't start thinking by yourself that, sir, I don't know this, that is why I'm telling you. If it's writing only import, then consider it as import of goods only. Alright? I could have done this better by writing import of goods, but still, you have to be ready for these things also. Which of the following taxes would be levied on intrastate supply of goods or services or both? Intrastate is within the state. So what will be applicable? Will it be CGST, UTGST? Both of the above IGST. If it's intrastate, then it's CGST and UTGST. What does intrastate mean? Within state or within UT? If it's within state, then it's CGST and SGST. And intrastate can also mean within the union territory. So it can be CGST and UTGST as well. Is there any maximum rate prescribed under UTGST? For UTGST, is there any maximum rate? Yes, there is. 20% is the maximum rate for UTGST. Which was the first country to introduce GST in the world? The first country was France, which introduced GST. In the entire world, and I'll explain it in this way. First has F as its first letter and so does France. Okay? So you see, I'll have to tell you some tricks or you students will forget by exam time. And this Canada, Brazil, you've heard of it somewhere, right? Which country is this? This is the country where what is going on? Dual GST. Okay. So in the dual GST case, we remember it like this BC. Meaning, for the first one, we call it like this. The first one is France. And after that, B and C. I mean, for the first one, like in the alphabet, it starts with A, B, C. We say A means the first one, right? So that first one is F for France. That's it. Then BC, so we remember it like then Brazil and Canada. Okay? It's just the method. Which model of GST is introduced in India? In India, which GST is it? Dual GST. What does the zero rate supply mean? Zero rate supply means export. GST is applicable on? Is GST there on petrol? No. Is it on alcoholic liquor for human consumption? No. Natural gas? No, out of 5 products of petrol. One of those is natural gas, so it's not on it either. It's on tobacco. The dangerous thing with tobacco is that the old excise is still being levied on it. On this, central excise duty is also levied and along with it GST is also levied. Just the old VAT and CST, they are removed. Like the old excise and VAT CST, they have been removed and GST has been brought in. So old excise duty is still there, just instead of VAT, GST has come. So on this, government is charging hefty tax. So excise duty is being taken. GST is being levied and GST compensation cess is also being levied. On tobacco, government is taking as much tax as possible. For how many years? State would be compensated for the loss of revenue which may arise due to implementation of GST. Due to the GST, what was the guarantee of compensation given to the state government for the loss it would incur, and for how many years? 5 years. 5 years, are they complete? Yes. So why is the GST compensation cess still being levied? It is still being levied because in course of giving compensation to states, central government went into debts, and to repay that debt, it is imposing GST compensation cess. Credit of IGST can be taken to pay. What can you pay with IGST? If you have ITC on you, you have input tax of IGST, then what all can you pay? By IGST, we can pay IGST, CGST and SGST, all can be paid. IGST, CGST, SGST. Okay, how do we pay? First IGST. Then second, anything CGST or SGST. If you don't remember, it means you have forgotten again. Okay? And now you go back and watch the lecture again if you don't remember. That how it used to be. When we move straight, ITC was about going forward like this. ITC of IGST, so while going forward, we used to say that first it will be through IGST and then however we wish. Alright? Move like however you want when you go forward. When you need to get down, you need to get down step by step. That's how it was. See, I can't explain it again now. If you've forgotten, you'll have to go back and watch the ITC part of the lecture where I explained it to you. Which article of the Constitution outlines the composition and function of the GST Council? It is 279A. Who is a taxable person? As per Section 2107 of the CGST Act, registered or liable to be registered both. Those who are registered and those who are liable to be registered are also taxable persons. Which of the following taxes have been subsumed in GST? In GST, which one is there? Central sales tax is there? CST is there? Yes. Central excise duty is there? Yes. VAT is there? Yes. All of the above. Now you'll say, sir, in some places it's still there like on petrol. But what we say that it has been subsumed. Otherwise, what has been merged? By that logic, all the taxes are still there. If it applies to a few things, then we call it subsumed only. Finished. Okay? You will always say CST has finished. Excise duty is finished. VAT is finished except for few things on which it's still applied. So don't create any hassle. Just say they are finished. Who is the chairman and head of the GST Council meeting? Who is the chairman? It is the finance minister. GST is levied on the supply of all goods and services except on what GST is not levied. C. From this, it's not on alcoholic liquor, it's on tobacco and on lubricant also. Lubricant is not included in petrol's 5 products. Which one are those 5 products on which GST is not applicable? Crude oil, petrol, diesel, and natural gas and ATF. These are 5 petrol products. 8th, on petroleum crude, high-speed diesel, motor spirit commonly known as petrol, natural gas, ATF. GST is not levied at all. GST doesn't apply. GST will be levied from a date to be notified on the recommendation of the GST Council. Actually, for this it has been written. You haven't read that section yet, so don't worry. This MCQ should actually be in the next chapter. That would have been the right order. Because in section 9, subsection 2, the point is mentioned that the GST will be applied on these 5 items when the GST Council notifies it. So the correct answer is this. The function of GSTN includes. What is the job of GSTN? I have explained that GSTN has built a complete mechanism for GST. Registration facilitating? Yes. Return to be given to central government, state government? Yes. Computation and settlement of IGST. Computation settlement of IGST? Yes. All of the above, right? The item which will be taxable both under current excise law and new GST even after the implementation of GST Act. Which of the items are subjected to both central excise duty and the new GST? I told you tobacco and tobacco products. This one. That's all. Congratulations to you. You have completed the first chapter, Introduction to GST.